right, Shalom. I want to start off as always by giving all praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Racha HaKodash. Daban is unto the apostles, the elders, and the bishops of Great Millstone. I want to send much love unto the brothers out there doing his work in truth and sincerity. And also want to send peace and blessings unto the believers of the hopeful elect. And in this lesson, I wanted to do a response video unto this video here that was put up by Glenn Beck on Blaze TV. And as you can see, the title of this video reads, "A Second American Civil War is not what you think, it's far worse." And in this video, he makes some great points concerning civil unrest, a civil war, and ultimately all hell breaking loose. All right, he give good descriptions of how certain situations would be and how neighbors would turn on one another and so on and so forth. Now, I watched this video earlier today at work, and as he was talking, I was like, this is 2 Esdras 15 in a nutshell, right? 2 Esdras 15, 2 Esdras chapter 16 will manifest in our times, man, okay? We're seeing these troops being put in different cities around America. The stage is being set, man. And these troops are being sent to neighborhoods, right? Pretty much, so-called liberal states, blue states. But these troops are going to be all across America, right? They're preparing for something, man. But ultimately, it's the Most High that's preparing these things to bring forth this word, okay? This is serious, man. But I'm going to play this video here because it's, a good clip. And I want to highlight a few things and also get 2 Esdras 15, grab a few verses out there and close out. Now, before I play this clip, I want to get this scripture here in Isaiah chapter 19 in the GNT Bible, which foretells of a civil war coming to Egypt, right? So this is Isaiah 19:1. It says, this is a message about Egypt. The Lord Yahweh is coming to Egypt, riding swiftly on the cloud. The Egyptian idols tremble before him, and the people of Egypt lose their courage. The Lord Yahweh says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt, and turn brother against brother, and neighbor against neighbor. Rival cities will fight each other, and rival kings will struggle for power. So the Lord is telling us that a civil war is coming to America, right? You got this so-called tension, where it ain't so-called tension, it's real tension between the right and the left amongst the people, that is, right? Not amongst the politicians. They're bought and paid for. But amongst the people, it's real tension between the so-called right and the left, to where these people are calling for each other's blood, right? But now they're trying to start something called a purple revolution. It's something being pushed on TikTok to where you got those who are on the right trying to meet those on the left at middle ground, right? Trying to put their beliefs to the side and come together because the American government is being ran by Israel and AIPAC and the IDF, right? So this is what they're trying to say, whatever. It's all trash, man. The Most High word is going to come to pass. I don't care what trend you put out. I don't care what kumbaya you put together. The Most High words is going to manifest. There will be civil war in Egypt. Okay? All hell will break loose. These people are going to go crazy. And what Esdras wrote down will take place. So now let's get into this video here, right? Because it's really good. So I'm going to play it here. Some audio is good. All right, here we go.
People are throwing around things like national divorce. People are saying, let it all burn. We need a great reset. As if we're talking about a new season of television. But we are not. Let me be very, very clear of what we are talking about. That must never be considered. I want to hit this early before this becomes a trend, because the algorithms will reward talk like this. National divorce, civil war, et cetera, et cetera. We are not talking about a season of television that you watch from your home when you're talking about things like this. We are talking about your life, your ordinary, miraculous, taken for granted life ending. Everything you grew up knowing, believing in, having the opportunity to have, be, do, over. It won't change. It ends. That's what civil war means. The world your children expect to grow up in. The one with school plays and little league and birthday parties in the backyard. Gone. And it doesn't come back with an election or a speech or a victory parade. It doesn't come back at all. This is very fragile. This has never been done. A government of, for, and by the people has never been done before. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but the entire world system seems to be against people that want to rule themselves. So it doesn't come back. Civil war is not, Gettysburg reenactors with quotes on social media. It's neighbors, it's cul-de-sacs, it's the grocery store and the gas station and the pharmacy. It's the lights you never think about until they don't turn on. The water you never worry about until it comes out brown, if it comes out at all. I need you, before things get crazier than they are, I want you to be firm on what you believe. I want you to picture, not for shock, but for absolute clarity. Your day begins and your bank app says service unavailable. Your ATM says out of cash. The trucks have stopped coming to the grocery stores because the highways have checkpoints and ambushes and rumors of both. The gas station is a rumor too. One station has a line that's 3 blocks long. The other has a hand-lettered sign that says cash only, limit 5 gallons. And you think, well, I got some cash, until you realize everybody else had that same idea yesterday. You must have a prescription for somebody in your family. Insulin.
Right, so he's pretty much setting up a scenario, right? He mentioned about your bank account being froze out. He mentioned about your lights not coming on, no water coming through the drainage. He spoke about checkpoints, being on the highways. That's all 2nd Esdras 15. 2nd Esdras 15 speaks about these cities pretty much being ran by the military, ran by troops, all right, with checkpoints and all these different things. A civil war is going to cause all that to happen. Once all hell breaks loose, it's going to take the military to try to bring forth some kind of order, right? Some kind of order. But it's going to be bad out here, man. And these Americans are going to, these Americans are going to slaughter each other, bro. They're going to slaughter each other, bro. Everybody frustrated. People can barely pay their rent, can barely buy groceries, barely pay their car notes. I mean, everybody is subject to payments here. It's hard, man. Everybody's frustrated, bro. Every day, bro, everybody is frustrated, man. No matter how much, pills you take or whatever, coffee, whatever it may be, you know what I'm saying, to soothe you. Everybody's frustrated, man, because of this wicked system that's in place. So people are on edge, man. They're on edge. And when these lights truly go out and these people stop respecting these imaginary boundaries, right, that make society flows, once these boundaries are removed, so to speak, by the people in their minds, it's going to get crazy, man. I mean, it's going to get crazy instantly. Okay? As he said, you wake up one day, bro, and everything has went left. Everything went left, man. And God forbid, you know, your kids be at school or something like that, and you got to try to get to your kids, and the highway is jam-packed. You can't get nowhere. So that's a possible scenario. That's 2nd Esdras 15, where things get really bad, right? Here we go.
And heart meds, chemo, whatever it is, the pharmacy's closed. Why? Because the pharmacists couldn't make it through the roadblocks. And the chain's distribution centers can't risk sending a truck without a police escort. And the police don't escort trucks anymore because the police that do show up for work now are triaging their own neighborhoods. You call 911 about a domestic disturbance down the street, and the dispatcher says, if anybody even answers, we'll put you on the list. These aren't front lines in a modern civil war. They are the intersections. They are our neighborhoods. They are the algorithms. The algorithm that sells rage by the pound. And it's being fed to both sides until both sides are blind with rage. When the governor, the person running, Spanberger, running for Virginia, for the governor, says, let your rage fuel you, no. Rage will make you blind. And we won't be fighting in uniform. You'll be avoiding a rumor. The rules of the road become rules of the rifle. Whoever controls the intersection controls that day. Hospitals are now fortresses, then targets, then shells. Food becomes scarce, then it's currency. Your children's school becomes a shelter. Do they even have school anymore? No. Your children now have memories of school and a new job of staying quiet when they hear a drone or a truck backfire. Childhood shrinks down to the safest room in your house. Now you think you're going to pick a side. You think you know what side you'll be on. You think your side will protect you. But here's the truth. Sides protect themselves. And both sides will ask you to prove your loyalty with things you promised yourself you would never, ever do. Good people just like you will do them because fear is a sculptor and it carves away at conscience first. You think you know how the market works until the market dies. Markets die when trust dies. Pensions evaporate, not because of a bad quarter, but because the bond market can't price what's coming tomorrow. The currency on your counter is now canned food, bottled water, diesel, antibiotics, your home value. What's a house worth if there's nobody to insure it, nobody to mortgage it, nobody to drive to it without risking their life? And then there are the guests who arrive when a great house is on fire. The cartels, the opportunists, the foreign intelligence services, the war tourists with passports and GoPros. They don't choose sides. They just choose opportunities and openings. And they open the opportunities you didn't even know you had. Your grid, your water plants, your data center, your port. And they don't fly flags. They fly yours. And then let you blame one another to fuel the fire. Let your rage. No, don't. Listen to me. There is no clean ending to this. You know, there's no clean Gettysburg, especially in a world of encrypted chats and weaponized rumors. There is just grinding, bone-grinding pain. There is the settling of old scores under new slogans. There's the permanent loss of innocence. The moment you stop seeing your neighbor as a neighbor that you can never quite unsee the enemy that you have imagined. I can't ever think of that person any way other than that. Then you are headed for that outcome. And if you imagine glory, war doesn't wound bodies, it wounds time. 10 years from now, the men and women who survive will still hear the sound of a truck at night and think checkpoint. Your children will flinch at fireworks. Weddings will be smaller. Funerals will be more frequent. And hope, real hope, will be spoken in a whisper because it's learned to hide. It is reasonable to ask, what do we have in common anymore? But the next reasonable question is, how can we find common ground? How can we understand?
All right, so I'm stopping right there. Glenn Beck, I hate to break it to you, fella, but it's going to get bad. It's going to get worse than what you described in this lesson. You make good points, but the Bible already got it covered, man. And we've been talking about it, okay? We've been talking about it, man. Plagues are prepared, bro, especially for America, okay? Especially for Babylon the Great. The Most High got things, bro. He got great plans for this place. They ain't good plans, okay? He has judgment prepared. You know what? Let's go to real quick. Let's go to Isaiah 47. And the verse 11, it says, therefore shall evil come upon thee, right? And I'm also going to read this verse here in the NLT, but it says, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. So the Heavenly Father is prophesying of evil and mischief and desolation coming to the streets of America. He said, you won't know where it's coming from, right? That is scary. Somebody come and hit you, you know what I'm saying, blindside, punch you in the face. That's scary. Okay, but this is from the Lord. So NLT Bible, it says, so disaster will overtake you. You won't be able to charm it away. Meaning what? You won't be able to tap into your left hand magic, right? Your wicked priesthood, Esau, to heal America. Bro, Esau always seeking to his priests, his witches and warlocks who do child sacrifice and all kind of sacrifice and wicked things, right? But the Lord, once he truly gets busy on this place, there is no amount of witchcraft Esau can do to save Babylon. It says, calamity will fall upon you, and you won't be able to buy your way out, right? Trump or whoever won't be able to sign an executive order, right, to fix something here in Babylon the Great. Nothing's going to work. And they're going to try everything, but nothing ain't going to work. Once the Most High has it out for this place, which he has it out for this place, and once he gets active, like the Most High got active back in with ancient Egypt, the Most High going to get active with Babylon the Great. And it's going to be nasty, right? It says, and catastrophe will strike you suddenly, one for which you are not prepared, right? and prepare for it. Okay? The Lord got these people in a stupefied state, man. Okay? These people are in a stupefied state. So once these plagues hit, right, and the bread and circus stop, these Babylonians ain't gonna know how to respond to that. Okay? They don't know how to respond to their life not being how it used to be. You know, coming home watching Netflix or whatever you watch, you know, whatever you do, that comes to an end, right? No internet. You know how many people gonna bug out because of the internet, bro? Bro, it was a story I think I hear in Texas. You had a Northern Kingdom mother. She turned off the Wi-Fi in the house, and she had 3 daughters, and they chased her with knives. They chased her with knives, bro, because she turned off the Wi-Fi. I guess as a punishment. And they chased their own mom with knives, bro. These people are crazy. So when there's no TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, Snapchat, whatever it may be, once these things come to a screeching halt, these Americans gonna lose their minds just behind the internet. But let alone food, water, tissue, other essentials, man. They're gonna lose their minds, right? So 2 Corinthians 14 says what? Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Brother, this don't sound good at all. What does Esdras mean? Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. He's talking about the people. That's what he's addressing. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. This is civil war. Okay? This is all hell breaking loose. Right? Look, it won't matter about your political belief in that day. Bro, in that day when all hell break loose, it's going to be hard to identify somebody. Oh, are you Republican? Or you nope. It won't matter. It's going to be about survival. It's going to be about survival, man. Swords in their hands, guns. So I may have an actual sword or a bat, you know, any kind of weapon. But that main weapon going to be that gun, man. That's the modern day sword, that gun. And these Americans love their guns, okay? They love their guns. So when it go down, they're going to shoot. Hey, they're going to start shooting. And it's going to be crazy, okay? As I said earlier, these invisible boundaries that make society flow is going to be removed in people's minds. Once you can't eat and provide for your children, right? Once you can't eat and provide for your kids, you turn into something else. You're going to care less about taking someone's life or less about harming someone because you need to feed your children. That's going to be amongst these communities, these neighborhoods. So-and-so ran out of food, but so-and-so down the street, he got some food, but he only got enough food for his family and his children. But you got 30, 40 more families with no food who is hungry. What you think they're going to do? They're going to take something, man. And this is what Esdras goes into. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another, right? A sedition is pretty much like a rebellion against the government, right? Against the establishment. And we see protesters here and there, right? But it's going to get worse. It says, They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to get to a point to where people are going to turn away from these politicians and their local officials and the presidents. They're going to be trying to hear it no more. Why? Because it's going to be chaos out here in these streets. Right? It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And why is that? In that video, Glenn Beck spoke about checkpoints, right? This right here in the scriptures. This is talking about checkpoints, bro. We see Trump got these troops in different cities. They can set up checkpoints. And that's where it's going to get, bro. It's going to be checkpoints everywhere. Okay, so stopping you. Okay, where you going? How far? This, that, and the third. Watch and see, man. No more just freely, getting, on the highway. And, if you stay in Katy, you trying to drive to the north side, they're like, nah, what you doing? Why you going over there for? State your business, right? Or they tell you, oh no, you can't go that way, right? Oh no, turn around. That's how it's gonna get. And it's hard to, picture because of how we live life here in America, right? But scripture is going to trump what we think in our minds. What Esdras saw is going to manifest, bro. And it may even shock some people who are in the faith that Babylon the Great has crumbled, right? These imaginary boundaries that make society go is gone. And you're going to see some very heartless, cruel things, right? As Yahushua said, because iniquity shall abound, a love of many shall wax cold. We see strange things in this world, man. We see different cases of people doing crazy things. How much more you think it's going to, bro, how much worse is going to get once society truly goes left? And there's no 911 to prevent anything, right? The police can only be so many places. Troops can only be at so many places. So it's going to be hell, man. It's going to be serious, okay? It says, for because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. If men in that day are afraid, how much more the opposite sex? Women, okay? How much more women in that day, man? It's going to be crazy, right? It's going to be crazy, man. You sisters out there who don't have a man, you should get you a man. I'm sure you see what's going on. And some of you may be by yourself. You better make yourself available to someone. And not, you just going hopping onto any man, but you know what I'm talking about. Because it's going to get very, very bad out here. Look, you know what? A video I watched of a woman, okay? She said that before her video went off. I watched about the digital IDs here. I think I was watching it yesterday. Let me refresh this here. Man, where my bar at? It's cool. It's cool. But yesterday, I was watching it yesterday. She made a point. Where is it? Her. Yep, right here. right here. She made a good point at the end of her video.
Things are getting fine with it, not going back. I love having a dumb phone. But the next step in their plan is the digital ID, to where your identification is going to be on your phone, and you're going to need this identification to work, to travel, and to engage in society. And this is not something that's hypothetical. It actually is taking place in the UK right now. I think just a week ago they passed it in the UK. So it's happening in UK. And just a couple days ago, the bill went up in Switzerland, and it passed by a very narrow margin. And when I say passed, I don't actually believe that the people voted it in, because I don't believe that voting counts. I think that's an illusion. Democracy is an illusion. They don't actually count our votes. We don't actually get to elect our officials. What they do is they kind of they prop up two candidates that appear to be opposed on moral issues to pull at our emotional and, spiritual heartstrings, so to say, and get us all fired up against each other to keep us distracted from what's really going on. And that is the fact that they're still pulling the strings behind the scenes, because they own and control these politicians, every single one of them. That is my belief. But anyway, it's happening. Digital ID is happening. And I think we still have our Second Amendment in the US. So I think it'll be a while before it happens here, maybe another couple of years. But in the meantime, I've got my hand crank mill. I've got my doomsday apocalypse bread. I've got all my sourdough skills and homemaking skills. I've got my 80, soon to be 150 chicks, my dairy cow. And most importantly, I've got my husband. Ladies, you need a good man in your life if you're going to get through these next few years. All right, that's it for this week's video. I'll see you guys next week.
Right, you heard her, Danny. Ladies gonna need a good man. She understand that to get through these hard times. Some of you sisters don't understand that. Then you're gonna need you a man in that day. Now, ultimately, if you're of the elect, yes, the Lord, He's going to provide and make sure that you are safe, right? But don't be foolish and not take heed to the scriptures. Not take heed to the men of the Lord. That hey, you're gonna need somebody. Okay? And I know that it is risky, right? Because so you never know what kind of man, that you're getting with. I get it. But if I were you, I'd rather have than to have not. And be out here, stuck and lonely. I'd rather have than to have not, man. But this woman understand that, she talked about digital IDs, it's a good video. She was showing her farm and her chickens and everything that she got. She make her own bread, make her own meals, from scratch. That's a damn good talent, man. Homestead living. That's a damn good talent to have. You ain't gotta go to the grocery store. You can, but it's hard to acquire some of those things. She ain't got no land, boy. It's hard to do anything. But anyway, back in Esdras speaks about how men should be afraid. Because it's going to be bad, man. Grown men trembling. Okay? Grown men afraid, crying bitterly. Because society has one left. It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Why is that? Why would a man show no mercy to his neighbor? Somebody that he, speaks to every day, possibly, had joint cookouts, their wives know each other, their kids play together. What event is going to take place and make him or even the other person not show him no mercy? Because no food, no shelter, no water, no access to medicine, okay, will make a person unalive you for it. As Ezra is talking about here. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. right? Gonna take your goods, man. Certain essentials, soap, you know. It can be deodorant, it can be toothpaste, you know, medicine, first aid kits. Whatever you got, they're gonna get it. Because of the lack of bread of a great tribulation. Esdras saw these things, man. He saw this so-called society, man, collapse in chaos. He saw the checkpoints and the troops. He saw people being unalived, you know, and the famines, the diseases, man. Bro, if the garbage truck don't run for a month, okay? If it don't run for a month, it's gonna be so much trash and funk throughout these neighborhoods, in these apartment complexes, wherever, okay? So much funk and filth that can cause diseases. Just 1 month of no, you know, no trucks. Shit, the water. 1 month of no maintenance, okay, with this water, man. It's gonna be brown. It's gonna be brown, man. And guess what? It's still freaking brown. It's just rushing so fast that you can't see that it's brown. These pipes are nasty, man. But imagine those systems being shut down, man. But we are banking on these systems to work and to be in place for us to live our lives, right? A light company, gas company, right? The food trucks and the grocery stores, gas at the gas station. Our lives are dependent on this stuff to be functional so that we can function, right? If those things stop tomorrow, how are you gonna function? It's gonna be hard. And this is why trusting in Yahweh Shai is pivotal. It's a must, man. Not a maybe, it's a must that you believe in the Lord to take care of you in that day. And guess what? You might have to get dirty in that day. Shit, you might have to put your hands on somebody. Who knows? But it's going to get bad, man. So there was a good clip by Glenn Beck, so he made some good points. But yes, Ezra going to manifest in our times. We see it in being prepared, man. Trump's ain't sitting these troops out for nothing. They're preparing for something, man. They're trying to hide it with, these are crime cities. We're going to see, crime. We're going to go stop crime. No. No, they got something else prepared. Got you thinking, oh, no, it's crime. No, it don't goddamn crime. Chicago like number 22 in crime. Like number 22, bro. So what the hell the media talking about? Seattle, Washington. Ain't nothing going on. The hell, shit, go to what is it called? Is it Birmingham, Alabama? Or one of those places? They going crazy. Murder rate through the roof. Right? Well, anyway. Everything been prepared, man. Keep your head on a swivel, bro. Man, the Lord is at work, bro. Stay prayed up, bro. But I'll close out with that. I'll praise you. How about you, Shai? Shalom.